Hi, my name is Becky Jennings, and this is the Responsible Parenting Podcast. I give you the transformational tools to stop reacting to your children in the moment and start responding with intention.
Do you find yourself locked in a daily power struggle with your child? Do you fall back into old patterns like yelling or threatening just to stop the annoying behavior? Are you desperate to learn how to connect with your kids, set boundaries, heck, gain some cooperation? If this is you, you need to check out my community. Inside my community, you'll have access to my signature strong-willed language course, where you learn how to regulate yourself, understand and speak your strong-willed kids' language to virtually eliminate the constant power struggles. You'll have access to my workshop library, giving you step-by-step strategies for sibling rivalry, listening, anger and aggression, emotional regulation, and more. You'll have weekly Q&A opportunities to get personalized answers on challenging situations. You'll get specific strategies for you based on exactly what's going on in your home. No umbrella strategy, no umbrella script, no bots. You'll get a personalized roadmap to support you. Plus, you'll get dozens of bite-sized lessons to regroup, stay on track, and stay motivated. It is time to stop walking on eggshells around your children and finally experience the relief you are looking for. Join the community today, and let's get started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Responsible Parenting. My name is Becky Jennings. I'm your host, and I love being here. If you are watching this video, you can see I have a lovely brace on my hand because I am my son's Little League coach, and I took a line drive ball straight to the face, but instead of it hitting my face, I blocked it with my wrist. Why didn't I use my glove, you might ask? I'm not quite sure still to this day, but I have tendon damage now. So never underestimate the strength of a 7-year-old child. It wasn't my child, but that child will remain nameless. So for 2 or 3 weeks, I have a splint, and it's feeling a lot better as the splint does its work. But I just wanted to share as we're heading into this holiday season that this is a really challenging time. There's a lot going on as a parent during the holidays. And while we have like all this incredible energy, all this joy, all this want and desire to, really make these moments special, it can be clouded over with meltdowns, power struggles, just tense energy. Maybe you have things that you want to get done, but it never gets done because you're tending to everybody else's needs. I find that this time of year, we have all these images of how it's going to go, and it rarely, if ever, goes that way. I find that so often we feel like we're kind of sucked into this role of caregiver, sucked into this role of fixer, sucked into this role of doing everything for everyone. And that leaves us depleted, drained, resentful, and the holidays kind of pass and we're just kind of like, ugh, what was that? And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you this holiday season. I don't want that for me this holiday season. And with everything that's going on in the world, whether you're thrilled or you're devastated, there is a palpable energy of unrest in the air. And I just want to call out that this holiday season is probably going to be like none other, especially if you're gathering with family members that you might not see eye to eye with, that you might be challenged with. I have a couple tricks, I have a couple strategies, and I'd love to share them with you now. First and foremost, I want to extend a sincere invitation to join me in my community membership. So my membership is where I pour my heart and soul into supporting you as best as I possibly can. It's where I have a weekly Q&A where you can come and ask me any question, where you can vent about what's going on in your world, where you can sit and tell me all of the things that are happening, and I can help you connect the dots with a strategy that works. I can help you kind of sift through and filter through all the noise, through all the information, and we can dial in a strategy that is super effective for you so that you have a path forward as opposed to an umbrella strategy that might not fit you. So that is a huge opportunity inside of my community to meet with me once a week live on a Q&A. And if you can't make that time, then just pop the question into the discussion board and I'll answer it on the Q&A as well. You also have access to my entire workshop library, one of which I'm going to tiny bit touch on today, but you can get the full workshops in there. There's dozens of mini lessons that are kind of like these bite-sized little pockets to hold on to, a little bit more of a mental reframe, just something to sturdy yourself and ground yourself into that lesson. Then you have a community of amazing women who are right in your same boat, who are trying just as hard as you, and they lift you up and support you. And every week you'll see this section that calls Share Your Wins, and you hear people sharing like the smallest win to the biggest mental shift. And of course, you have access to my signature Strong-Willed Language series. And that is where I have taken these gentle strategies that are awesome, but don't always work on a strong-willed kid. And if you know that maybe empathy sends your strong-willed kid to a totally different level. And you're like, well, that backfired. And the only way to kind of get it back is to threaten or bribe or figure out some sort of way to shut it down. So I give you tool after tool and strategy after strategy to ground yourself, to learn how to speak their language so that you can have a truly, genuinely wonderful relationship with your strong-willed kid. So my community doors are open. And honestly, having that resource during the holidays, during the most triggering time of the year, is going to be an incredible resource for you. On top of that, I'm available on, on the app. So if you are stuck in a terrible situation, you run to a closet or a bathroom and you send me a direct message, I'm going to receive that message and I will meet you in that closet or that bathroom and I will send you a message back. And that will be an opportunity for us to connect, to reground ourselves, and to really focus on what our goal is. And that's to create this incredible time with our children. That's to have a joyful, loving, peaceful relationship that is not one meltdown, one power struggle, one moment of resistance after the other, which can leave us drained, defeated, resentful, angry, depleted, feeling racked with guilt, this heavy burden on our chests. And I want that to stop for you. So as we head into this holiday season, I invite you to join me inside of my community. The link in the show notes will be available to you. Honestly, you can stay for a month. You can stay for a year. It is truly up to you. Honestly, you only know when you've gained enough information, when you've felt grounded enough, when you feel like you can take that next step without support. So there's no judgment if you only stay for a couple weeks or if you stay for a year. The more time I get to be with you, the better for both of us. And I would be so honored to be a part of that with you this holiday season. So let's dive in to how we can stay present, grounded, and we can really focus on tools and skills and not get sucked up into the chaos that is known as the holiday season. And honestly, this works all of the time, but really specifically, the holiday seasons can be rough. So I am obsessed with Marshall Rosenberg's theory of nonviolent communication. It makes so much sense. And it really just takes all of the oxygen out of the fire, right? We're not fueling the fire. We're not making it burn bigger and stronger. We're just letting it be. And we are using his very strategic 4-step process. So Marshall Rosenberg's 4-step theory, his process in nonviolent communication is number 1, observations, number 2, feelings, number 3, needs, and number 4, requests. It's very easy to wrap all of these scenarios up into evaluations where you're making judgments on people versus observations. So an observation is facts. They're objective. They don't carry blame. They're not an evaluation on the person or the scenario. It is just what has transpired in front of your face. I observed that. I noticed that. I saw that, right? It is crystal clear and it doesn't pass along this like air of judgment or righteousness, which again fuels a fire, right? It fuels the fire. It arms the other person in defensive postures, and it just really sets the tone off in a negative way. So if we can focus on simple observations of what we noticed, then we move into the next, which is our feelings, right? They're not thoughts, they're not emotions, they're not sensations, they are feelings. I feel blank. And let's keep it to literal Dr. Seuss type language. I feel angry. I feel sad. I feel mad. I feel hurt, right? If we keep it super simple, not your fault, not you did this to me, I feel, right? Then we move into needs, and needs are something that we all universally share. And that is something that I think is really important because we can sometimes think that our needs are more important, or maybe somebody else doesn't recognize our needs, but how would they recognize our needs unless we say it out loud? So, our needs really are what is driving our behavior. If you think of the tip of an iceberg, right, the tip of the iceberg is our outward behavior. That's the underlying needs are the ice underneath that you can't see under the surface of the water. But all of those, all of our unmet needs are what is driving our behavior to the surface, that presentation, whatever we're doing. It's because we have unmet needs. So we need to actually connect the dots ourselves. What is this value? Why do I need this thing? Then we need to be really, really proactive on how we talk about our needs, right? We're not just saying like, give me this or do this for me without letting people know, right? When we shout an order or a demand at somebody, which we'll get to next, we're putting them on the defense. But when we share that I'm feeling this because I need this, right? I need to feel more connected to you. I need more rest during this day. What we're actually doing when we express our needs is we're opening the conversation up for collaboration as opposed to shutting it down and just, really spewing our frustration onto the other person because they might actually not know what our needs are. The person in front of us is not a mind reader. And even if we thought we have given all of the cues, all of the signals, even been as passive aggressive or as aggressive as we possibly could, unless we are stating our needs out loud, it will probably never be met, which then moves to our next section, which is the requests. Now, the challenge here is that we focus on a demand, right? We tell somebody to do something. We put up that wall as opposed to saying, would you be willing to? Are you open to the idea of? When we do this, we give that other person the opportunity to decide because at the end of the day, we can't control everybody. We can only control ourselves and our reactions, and we can only control how much energy we put into something. So when we can focus on nonviolent communication, it really gives us the knowing that we have done our best. We have laid it all out on the table. We have been as effective as we possibly can. And in the process of nonviolent communication, and here is the trickiest part, we can't be tied to the outcome because, again, we're not in control of the other person. So here's what it sounds like around the table at Thanksgiving. When I see or hear the observation, I feel, state your feeling. Because I need, share your need and the value that is associated with that. Would you be willing to? And make your request. And when we make that request, it is now in the other person's hands, whether or not they will make that happen for you. And if they can't, that's okay. And you know that you've done your best. And now you need to look inward and see how you can make that work inside of yourself, how you can fill that need for yourself or find it elsewhere. So I just wanted to share that really key strategy heading into this really tense, tricky, definitely spicier holiday season than most. And this is also really wonderful and a beautiful way to teach your children an empowered conversation. Teaching them to say, when I hear or when I see. Make that observation because it's really teaching them to kind of take the emotion, take the energy out of a scenario, take the blame out. When I see, this is what I notice. This is what I notice. And when I notice that, I feel this. And when I feel this, I need this because I need this, right? Would you be willing to share that toy, take turns, allow me to go first, whatever? But setting this framework is life-changing. It is so comforting to actually, when you're stuck in that trap in a conversation where you feel like all of this is brewing up inside of you, that you feel like you're going to burst, following this is a magical process. And I can attest to the fact that I had a relationship, a very important relationship in my life that was tense for about 16 years. And we kind of just tiptoed around each other, but we were never really close. And unfortunately, we had to be close. We were family, right? And we were around each other for weeks and weeks and weeks over the year. And so I approached a open conversation with the framework of nonviolent communication. And 4 hours later, we were able to get through a lot of the challenges that we were both experiencing in this relationship. And I will tell you that since that conversation, when I said, when I notice or when I hear, I feel, I have a need, would you be willing? Our entire dynamic changed. She is more open to talking to me. She now looks at me as a trusted source and a confidant that she can come to and share really important things in her life too. She comes to me now to bounce things off and see if she's on the right path. It's truly an empowering framework, especially if you think the relationship is dead, if you have no faith in it anymore, if you are just cringing with the thought of seeing this one person. I promise you that nonviolent communication is your best bet when it comes to healing, when it comes to getting through it, when it comes to being able to be empowered and speak your mind. This will support you in every way possible. Also, I want to note, if you do decide to join me in my community, I have an entire workshop on the framework of nonviolent communication. You will have immediate access to it. I would highly encourage you to listen to it before you head into the holidays. I think it will really, really serve you. So I will leave you with that. If you have any questions, please send me a message either via email or send me a direct message on Instagram at Responsible Parenting. I would love to answer your questions, but I truly hope to see you inside of the community. And if you do decide to join, please use the promo code podcast. It will give you $10 off of your first month. I hope to see you there. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Responsible Parenting Podcast. If you like what you heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. If you know someone who would benefit from this podcast, I'd be honored if you'd share this episode with them. Until next time, know that you are enough, you are capable, you've made it through all of your hardest days, and we will keep growing on this parenting journey together. This podcast was produced by Kim Kelty and myself, Becky Jennings, and edited by the Kelty Method, Branding and Podcasting.